Captain Midnight.
This video is brought to you by Brilliant. Okay, there's a good chance people are going to accuse me of being too negative on this one, and hey, maybe they're right. But even though the show itself is coming out pretty soon, and I'll be happy to reassess, I don't think I'm quite as sold on this Netflix live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer as apparently a lot of people online are. I think this is going to be a shorter video, but I wanted to talk about it, and specifically what I'm really hoping to get a sense of that we didn't really get into in this trailer. Before I fully jump in though, I do want to ask, what did you think of the trailer? Was it everything you'd hoped it would be? Are you still not sold on the show? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really interested to see the responses on this one.
The Fire Nation is invading. Only air-launching Aang and Appa can stop them.
So one sentiment I see popping up over and over again about this trailer is how excited people are that it looks a lot more faithful to the source material than the 2010 film. And yeah, that's true. I don't think that's a particularly high or notable bar. That movie didn't even pronounce the main character's name the same way. I actually covered that one a few years ago, and if you want to check that out, I'll try to put a link down here somewhere. But yeah, if you judge the trailer on it being closer to the show you love than the previous attempt at a live-action Airbender, I'm sure it's going to win that battle with ease. And it helps that the original show is now firmly entrenched as a beloved nostalgia item in the way it wasn't when the M. Night movie was being made. I'm sure Netflix is very, very happy to lean into that. What I start to wonder though, watching this trailer through a few times, is what is this show bringing to the table that the original animated series didn't already give us? Is there a nice feeling of recognition in seeing this new Aang crash into a statue like he did in the show's intro every week back in the 2000s? Sure, but does recreating those moments alone really justify this show's entire existence? To me, no, especially not when, frankly, the animated show appears to be a lot more bright and expressive. That scene I mentioned just has so much more vibrance and personality than it looks to have in this trailer, and that worries me. I understand why people are so excited about this, but I really hope this show doesn't just turn out to be an 8-episode Cliff Notes version of that first season. And this trailer didn't exactly go a long way towards convincing me it won't be. And maybe that's what people want. I mean, maybe that's what you want. A highlight reel of some of our favorite Last Airbender moments played out in live action. If that idea really does it for you, I'm glad, but that just doesn't seem like all that exciting of a prospect to me. The first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender is this perfect hybrid of an exciting serialized narrative combined with old school episodic TV storytelling. And yeah, it would totally be possible to lose some episodes and narrative threads from them and still tell the overall season story in a truncated form. But I'm kind of confused why anyone would want that. What we have in Book 1 of Avatar is an extremely well-balanced and well-executed assortment of stories and tones, allowing us to spend time with these characters through their heaviest moments and their lightest ones. The heavy prophecy stuff and the mostly standalone episodic interpersonal squabbles, something that 20 episodes gives them the breathing room to do, but it really won't be easy in 8. Even if they are longer episodes, and I assume they will be, unless some episodes divide themselves into 2 distinct stories, or function like a series of vignettes a la The Tales of Ba Sing Se, which I would actually like to see, but it probably won't happen given Netflix needs that bingeable forward momentum that they usually want from these big expensive shows. And I'm afraid that the aspect that will suffer most from this is the humor and, maybe most importantly, the group camaraderie of the kids. We really don't get much of that in this trailer. It's also easily the biggest place where the live action version fell flat on its face last time. There's that kind of awkward moment where Momo lands on Sokka's head and Aang and Katara laugh. It plays pretty stiltedly here, but I'll withhold any actual judgment for now and just chalk that up to choppy trailer editing. Still, I don't envy the new show on this front. That's going to be really tough chemistry to recreate. Going back and rewatching the original, I've come to really appreciate how well animated it was when it comes to these characters' expressiveness, and how it would allow those characters, especially Sokka, to be animated in a very over-the-top way to sell a funny line or a bit of physical comedy. His live-action counterpart obviously won't have that luxury, and I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of thing ends up mattering a lot more than people assume. I will say that the One Piece adaptation on Netflix seems to be giving people a lot of hope for this as well, and I will say right now, I'm not the best person to talk about that. I haven't seen it, I've barely watched the anime, I think I read some of the manga way back in like 2008 or something. It's just not my thing. From everything I hear though, the Netflix version seems to be satisfying fans in a way that people were not expecting based on their previous attempts at turning animated shows into live action. And that's cool, I'm glad One Piece was seemingly able to pull that off, but I think there's a pretty big difference between a show where the creator of the original was there to oversee everything, and Netflix's Avatar situation where the creators of the show literally quit. Now, does that spell complete doom? Definitely not. There's plenty of good adaptations that don't have the original writer or creative team involved. And many times, fresh eyes can bring something new to the table. But what I'm most eager to see now is what those fresh elements are. I do think the cast has a lot of potential. I'm especially excited to see Lost Daniel Dae Kim, who also previously voiced General Fong in the original show and Hiroshi Sato in Korra, take on the role of the Fire Lord here. I'm always happy to see him pop up outside of network TV cop and doctor shows where he's remained a steady presence for decades. I'm really excited to see more of the entire Fire Nation cast in general. If I see one area of The Last Airbender where I think an adaptation aimed at a slightly older audience could really benefit the story they're telling, it's Zuko's family and the political jockeying and brutality of the Fire Nation leadership. Not that the animated show didn't handle this well, it did, but I think there's still some untilled soil there, and some character dynamics that they could explore more fully without having to worry about the network content standards of a kid's cable channel. Overall, this trailer didn't do much to change my opinion of the project. Hopeful, but I'm not totally sure why it needs to exist. We have a great version of this story already, and it doesn't need a live action version to be granted respectability or something. I just really hope this new one has a reason to exist beyond name recognition and nostalgia. And it very well could, but to be honest, nothing here really sold me on that being the case. But here's hoping I'm proved completely wrong when the show begins on February 22nd. As we get older, it's so easy to stop learning new things and just fall back into routine. I think it's important to try to combat that and always strive to be a lifelong learner. That's why Brilliant helps you tackle math, science, and computer science concepts like AI and neural networks in a fun way that'll always fit into your schedule, even if you can only spare 15 minutes a day on a computer, tablet, or even your phone. Things like data skills are only getting more and more in demand, which is why I was really impressed with their Data Analysis Fundamentals course. Within a few quick lessons, you get to analyze real data and draw interesting conclusions from it, something you can take into the real world. There are thousands of lessons here, and they're always adding new ones. It's just a really enjoyable and intuitive way to learn, and always fits into your own personal schedule. So go to brilliant.org/midnight and try it for free with a 30-day free trial, and the first 200 people to go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. That's brilliant.org/midnight.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes too.